Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of The Caring Nurse. I'm your host, Fatima West, invested in you and anchored in relationships. Tonight, we'll have a very special guest joining us from hospice services. He's going to give us a little bit of education and talk about his experience with the hospice dealing with patients. And at this moment, I'd like to introduce you to Brian Madison. Hey, Brian, how are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing excellent, excellent. Loving this Friday.
Yes, indeed. Yes,
Right?
indeed.
The
Long week.
Orioles, yep, the Orioles threw out the first pitch this week, right?
Well, I'm just gonna be real. I'm not an Orioles fan.
Oh, you don't mess. Oh, everybody say, oh.
I'm a Washington Nationals fan,
Okay, all right, that's all good. That's all good. It's in the same area. We'll take
but
that.
don't hold it against me, please.
We're not gonna hold it against you. You can wear your red and blue. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. Brian, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Surely. Well, I was born and raised in Prince George's County, Maryland.
Oh,
Um, the second of four brothers.
wow.
Uh, I went to Morgan State University and got my undergraduate degree in business administration, and worked a career in politics. And then the Lord had a strange moment and called me in the ministry.
Oh, that's
And
how it happens, right? The Lord gonna call you. Nothing you can do
yeah,
about that, right?
yes, indeed. And you have to answer. So I went to seminary and got a master's degree from Virginia Union University, Samuel DeWitt Proctor School of Theology. And I'm married almost 30 years, blessed with two wonderful gifts from God and my children. I have a son named Brian, he's 23, and a daughter who is named Ariel, who is 16. I currently serve as a hospice chaplain for Seasons Hospice. And I also, when I finish my vocation, I go into my calling, and I am a associate minister at Galilee Baptist Church in Suitland, Maryland, where our pastor is the Reverend Dr. Lloyd T. McGriff. I serve there as the youth pastor and the minister of pastoral care.
Oh, wow.
And that's me in a nutshell,
Yeah, so that's you're busy all day.
pretty much.
Well, when God calls you and your calling is to, feed others and to nurture others and to care for others, then he's going to keep you busy.
Definitely.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about hospice and what it is that you do with hospice.
Well, serving as a hospice chaplain, you encounter all types of situations. First of all, hospice is built around patients or people who have been diagnosed with 6 months or less, six
Yes,
months or less to live.
that would be the criteria, right? 6 months or less
Right,
to live. Okay.
right. And what we do as a hospice team is that we develop all types of uh, ways to provide what's called comfort care,
Mhm.
and to help them walk the last mile of the journey with dignity, with still feeling as though they're important, even though they've been diagnosed with 6 months to live. Then let's make it the best 6 months of your life, even though you're dealing with everything concerning the diagnosis and all of the things that you may not have in order yet. As a chaplain, I'm told a lot of things, and a lot of things are shared with me. Things that people have been held inside for 30, 40 years, and
Wow.
they share it with the chaplain. And what I do is I try to provide levity. I try to provide a sense of calm and reinforce what they already believe. So many people misconstrue the term chaplain. They think that the chaplain is only there to provide spiritual support. And although spiritual support is one of the things that a chaplain provides, a chaplain also provides a listening ear, a calming spirit, and a voice of reason in the midst of all that they're going through.
Yeah,
And
that's one
I
of the reasons.
love, go ahead,
I'm
I'm sorry.
sorry. That is one of the reasons I really wanted to have you on the show, because me and you share the same heart for our hospice patients. They are living into they're not living, and therefore they should have the best quality of life possible. They should have wonderful experiences, and they should be nurtured and continue to be cared for. They are not to be left in the wind. They are here. They are persons, and we share that same heart for that. So, and I work with you. We work together. And so that was always a delight to see you when you were coming. I knew that I could count on you to be supportive of the families, to be encouraging, and to just bring that light to them. I wanted to ask you, what is it that you think families and patients generally want to know when someone is at that end stage of life?
Well, the main question that I always hear, and I'm not a doctor, so I can't answer it, and I'm not God, so I can't answer it, is how much time do we have? How much time do we have left? And in the midst of that, when they ask that question, I always tell them, I don't know how much time we have left, but with the time that we do have left, whatever it may be, let's make the most of it. Let's be honest and real with each other, things that you may have held in. Let your loved one know how you feel about them. And then when I talk to the patient, I said, let your families know how you feel about them. I know that love is, to me, is an action word, and you show love by making sure that the mortgage is paid, making sure that there's food in the refrigerator. But sometimes people need to hear the actual words, I love you. And I'm always been proud of you. And I'm proud of the direction that you're heading. And even though I won't be here anymore, I want you to know that I'm seriously care for you, and I seriously love how you've turned out and the person that you've become.
And that's a wonderful thing. I always tell families, speak to your family member. They may not speak back, but the listening ear is always hearing. They can hear you, they can sense your presence, and it's a wonderful thing. I've had many opportunities where I've had to hold a cell phone to someone's ear, if they couldn't be there, to support the families, and it's important. It's important to actually say the words that are in your heart, to bring those things out. I've had family members who didn't get along with each other, siblings, and I was able
Yes.
to assist them and help them be in the room at the same time, to let their guards down, to let love lead them in a way that they can nurture their mother or their father or their other sibling. And it's always been a wonderful experience. One thing I want people to know is that babies cry coming into the world because it's difficult. Leaving the world is also difficult. Those people that are experiencing that transition in life also need nurturing and care, and so we appreciate when I find another professional that I can connect with, and that, has the same heart of God and the hands of God, the voice of God, to bring to people, to be that support for them. In your opinion, what roles, other than just nursing, do you see nurses filling at that point in someone's life?
Oh, I love the nurses. Reason being is because not only do they have to provide, the medical assistance, but a lot of times nurses take on a several different roles. They become the advocate, the confidant, the person that that the patient turns to the most, and the family, to hear real discussion, real words, real things before I'm allowed to come in, so to speak. As a chaplain, a lot of times there's a misconception that you only need a chaplain when you're at the very end. And so they don't want to see the chaplain because oh God, I must be at the end. I
They
don't
feel
want to see the chaplain.
something's
No,
falling.
he's the Grim Reaper. I don't want to see him. But that's why I love the nurses, because they set the stage for me.
Mhm.
And even in the midst of their caring for the patient and for the families, they are the ones who make it easy for me to walk into a room. So I love nurses, and I love doing dual visits with nurses. And it's like I can't say enough about nurses.
Yeah, it's true. A nurse with an excellent or a good bedside manner sets the stage for how things are going to happen. The nurses have the ability to, you know, organize the room in a way that the
Right.
families can come right in and get in position. They have the ability to have the room freshened up, to have, certain things out of the way so family members won't be uncomfortable seeing certain medical supplies. Um, they go in, they take care of the patients, do a few things, and when the families come back in the room, the person is settled, they are calm, they are relaxed, and so the nurses are able to do that whole presentation, and it's all part of nursing. But nurses who have a heart for it, they do a little bit more, a little bit extra, and that extra really does make a big difference. um,
Yeah.
at this point, at that time, what do you think? What information or what would you tell a family? What can families do at this time to help with the transition of the person?
Well, the one thing I always tell families is to number one, communicate with each other. Let each other know when the other needs support, when they're having a rough day, when they can't deal with what's going on. Turn to another family member and say, "Hey, I'm having a rough day." And then, when it concerns the patient, I tell the families to make sure that you keep the patient relevant. Make sure that if they're living in still living in the home with you, ask them what they want for dinner and what dinner should be for the family. Ask them about important decisions that they used to be in charge of in the house. Let them still, contribute to family life within the house so that they can, in the midst of their pain, in the midst of their suffering and what they're going through, they can still feel like I am still a part of this family. I am still relevant. I still have an important voice,
Mhm.
and that's very important for them to keep their dignity. You want to make sure that the patient remains in a dignified state. That they're losing. Sometimes they're losing their abilities, just the normal abilities to do simple things such
Mhm.
as brush their teeth, such as wash their own face, and it's debilitating, and you have to make sure that they still feel like that they're a whole person.
You must
And
keep the human in with the human. You still
yes,
there. You still have to humanize them. You can't objectify them because you feel like they're leaving. Um, and we all know better. They don't just leave.
right,
It's a lot more to it than that.
right,
When we know that, and so having a discussion with them when you're in a room, not having a discussion about them as if they're not there. So
exactly,
walking in
exactly,
and saying good
very good point.
morning, how are you, and letting somebody know what you're doing, and oh, guess such and such is here. Your brother came to visit you. He's going to say hello. Continuing to do that, and that's a good therapy and a good way for everybody, for all the family members. I have a confession to make. As a young nurse, about 19, I used to have an issue, or I didn't think too kindly of people who couldn't be there, or couldn't be close when their family member is transitioning. And then I had an experience. I had a friend of mine who mother was passing, and the whole family was at the hospital. And they kept calling for him. And I kept saying to him, I said, your sister's calling for you. Your brother's calling for you. They all want you to come to the hospital. And he gave me a look, and the look was a painful look. And to this day, like, my heart beats fast when I think about the look he gave me. And what he said to me was, I can't watch my mother die. And
Right,
and it's difficult. And so that was the first time I was able to actually sympathize with someone whose close family member is transitioning, and I understood the hopelessness and the helplessness of watching someone leave this earth, and there's absolutely nothing that you can do about it to change it, and you don't want it to happen.
yeah, those
And
are real
so,
feelings.
mhm. And so for family members who are strong enough or able enough, I won't even say strong enough, but able enough to be at the bedside, to be there, I just want to say to those family members, be strong and understanding and empathetic for someone who cannot be there. when you can be there. Accept your role. If your role is to be there and you can wash their feet and you can lotion them and talk to them, accept your role and accept the other person's pain that they can't break through and they can't be there. So I just wanted to encourage people in that way, from my own story. Um,
Those are real
Brian,
feelings. That's a good story.
yeah, yeah, I was kind of annoyed with myself, and then when he broke that down to me, I understood. I understood. I have been able, not because I wanted to, but because other people needed me to for my own family. I have been able to be there to wash my uncle who was at a facility in Chester, Pennsylvania, and to come there and be there present at his passing. I was able to drive from Maryland up to Pennsylvania and be there with my family, with my grandmother passed. And I was able to be the person to be there. Um, and that doesn't say that the people who can't be there or can't handle it are any less important than me or
Exactly.
stronger than me. um,
Exactly.
and so they shouldn't be, made to feel less than, because
Be
everybody has
vilified.
their own
Right.
struggles. And I think the reason that I was there is because someone else couldn't. It wasn't that I wanted to be strong, because I didn't. But neither one of their deaths, I didn't want to be strong. I wanted to buckle. But other people needed me to be strong. And so therefore, that was the position that I took. Brian,
Funny how God. I'm sorry.
no,
I'm
no,
sorry. Go ahead.
let you
I
finish
was
that.
saying. I was saying it's funny how God will place you in a position that you don't think you have the strength to do,
Yeah.
but then when you get into it, you realize, okay, all right, God, I accept it.
Yeah, yeah. You will. And I just want to, say that, death is one of the most humbling things. It evens the playing field. It doesn't respect any of us. It doesn't respect how much money we have. It doesn't respect what race we are. Doesn't respect our birth order. None of that. It will humble us and bring us all to our knees. And we know this. Um, I wanted to ask you, Brian, if you could share with us a memorable moment you had, as a hospice chaplain.
Well, the most memorable one is as a hospice chaplain. I am a I'm open to all faiths because you deal with people who are Christian, who are Muslim, who are Buddhists, who are atheists, who have no faith at all in a higher power. But to me, love translates in any faith, any language. If you show love, it translates.
There it
So,
goes. It does
so
translate.
my most memorable experience is of a person who did not have a belief in God, so to speak, but he had a belief in a connection with people and a connection with the earth through his music. He was a heck of a guitarist. He had like 20 Gibson guitars in his basement. If you know about Gibson guitars, you know what I'm talking about. And I am a pseudo musician myself. I play the saxophone.
Pseudo.
So yeah, I mean, I did it. It paid a few bills for a while, but
All right.
um, we talked. I met him on a Wednesday, and I talked with him for about 4 hours. The next time we met again was on a Friday, and I talked with him for another 2 hours. And Lord and behold, we talked about everything under the sun. And then we got into talking about music and how his music is what connected him to giving him sort of a spiritual sense or his own spirituality. He connected with the earth and with people through music. And we talked about that. And that was one of the most gratifying things of all because he he died that Monday. And his memorial service, which was the greatest thing in the world to me, was not a traditional funeral. His memorial service was a jam session. He got all of he put this together before he passed. All of his friends, musician friends, came together and they had a jam session. And because I had been his chaplain, and they heard that I played the sax, they were like, "You coming to the jam session too, and you gonna jam with us."
Oh, it's on
And that
now.
was one of the, oh man, it was on and popping, as the young folks say.
Yes,
And
and
we had the
that's truly
best
a
time.
celebration.
Yeah,
That's a great
we had the
celebration.
best time remembering him in that way. And I think that that's one of, there's many ways that you can celebrate life, and that was one of the most memorable.
Yeah, that's exciting. It's exciting to celebrate life in such a happy, memorable way. It's really exciting to do that. I think most of us would probably prefer that our
Yeah,
families enjoy our pictures, talk about us in a way that is jovial, and that how we laughed and how we played and how we loved. I would like to just encourage people. A lot of times at funerals, people tend to tell people how much they love them, how much this person meant to them. They tend to reflect on occasions that this person did something great for them. I would encourage everyone to share that with a person today. Any
right.
chance you get, don't wait till they're gone. Go ahead and share it with them. Say, you know what, this day, this happened, and you really touched me. I really got a lot from you. Thank you. Those are beautiful things that should be said in the presence of the person. So I would encourage everybody to, take an opportunity to, just let somebody know how much you love them and how they've made a difference in your life. Even me meeting you and having the experience that we worked alongside each other through hospice, and it's a pleasure to meet you, and like again, to say somebody who has the same heart that I have for hospice patients and being able to love on each other. I just want to say that our platform here is to educate, encourage, and empower you. The Caring Nurse is here to provide services for families, in home, hospice care, physical therapy. It's a realm of different things that we do here with the Caring Nurse. So you'll see my email and my information at the bottom of the ticker. Please take a chance and get to know me. You will not be disappointed if you hire me to help you with consulting or whatever it is that I can do to support you and your family at any given time. And I really do appreciate that. Before we go, I just wanted to just say, you know, Brian took some time out today to be here with us, and we really do appreciate him. And I wanted to also make sure I make a note that we like to thank Donnie Glover of BlackUSANews.com for being our producer of this platform today and giving us this space to share. Brian, do you have any last words you'd like to say?
Surely. First and foremost, I want to thank you for considering me. I've worked with Fatima, and that's the perfect name for her, the caring nurse. I've watched her in motion. I've watched her advocate for her patients. I've watched her, go tooth and nail with people who tried to do something against the wishes of the patient. So if you want someone that will be in your corner, then yes, look her up. Secondly, I want to let people know that um, hospice is not a death nail or a death sentence.
No.
Actually, hospice is something where we celebrate and promote the time that's left, and we provide the best care to a person or to someone who's going through the journey of transition.
Yes.
So, families, don't be scared of it. Do your research, get some education, and think about providing love and care in a special way. Because with hospice, you get the full team. You get a doctor, you get a nurse, you get a chaplain, you get a social worker, you get all kinds of counselors in the background. You get it all. So take advantage of it. And that's my spiel.
Okay. I just want to say, just that you guys know, some research does show that most people do not take advantage of the hospice services that are paid under Medicare. And so most people are missing out on, just having that support system for that transition. Like Brian said, you get a social worker, you get a chaplain, you get nurses, you get physicians. There's a lot of support. You get equipment. And I believe another statistic says that people who have go through the hospice experience, they experience the transition at a greater, more um, profound way, but in a positive way, a positive way. So, be okay with it. It really is okay. And it is a pleasure as a nurse to be there when someone is transitioning. It is definitely a gift to be able to be there, and it's a gift to be able to be with the person as they transition from this world. And we like to say good night to everybody. Good night, Brian. Thank you again for coming. Everybody,
My
this is
pleasure.
Fatima West, the caring nurse. Thank you. Good night.